A big institution, ARK Invest, just moved $148 million worth of Bitcoin into Coinbase, but Bitcoin is trading at the most critical demand zone right now. Are they about to smash the sell button and crash through the support, or is this your time to buy the dip? Let's analyze. Hello ladies and gentlemen of the Paradise Club, this is Simon from my Crypto Paradise. Let's analyze Bitcoin. In this video we will analyze the footprint of Bitcoin. We will have a look at some big buy and sell walls. Fear and greed index cannot be missed. We will have a look at some funding rates and also liquidation heat map, because below us there is some liquidation pool. Ladies and gentlemen, from the technical spectrum we will have a look at 1 hour, we will have a look at 4 hour and daily and weekly time frame, with which we will start right now. So let's have a look what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. I have been doing some small analysis live already, but let me just delete all of these drawings and let's have a look what's going on. So you know that we are right now creating the idealized corrective wave, where this was the A wave, and right now with the highest probability we have finished, or we are finishing, the B wave. Well, and after that, as you know from our website mycryptoparadise.com, because you are being educated inside of MCP Free University, what's come next is C wave, and the C wave is a motive mode wave because this is a flat, and right now we are having an expanded B wave because this is expanded flat correction. All right, so right now, does it mean that I'm bull or bear? Let's analyze the dynamics, and we will be adding some points to bulls and some points to bears. So first of all, let's understand that we are creating this ABC zigzag formation. Okay, as you know, zigzag is being subdivided into 3 waves, A, B, C, where the A wave subdivides itself into 5 smaller waves, and the same way C wave does as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we will be analyzing the subwaves on lower time frames. Right now, from the ultra high time frame perspective, what's important to understand is that another weekly candle is closing in just 1 day, 9 hours, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so paradisers, we need to be very careful because it will be a secondary candle that might close as a shooting star candlestick pattern. As you know, previously during July, all right, in the beginning of July, we have been creating the shooting star candlestick pattern as well on the attempt of breaking above our $121,000 resistance. Ladies and gentlemen, double shooting star candlestick patterns, is it bullish or is it bearish? Well, if you take a look at our website, this is a textbook example of a double top formation and double shooting star candlestick pattern, which is usually observed at a top of trends, bullish trends to be absolutely exact. Okay, so if we will create another shooting star candlestick pattern, bang bang bang, it will add to the points to bears, ladies and gentlemen. But does it mean that only based on this kind of information I will enter aggressive short position? Well, definitely not, because as a professional trader, you know that points and probabilities are one thing, but also you are waiting for confirmations, and then you need to tactically execute your trading idea as a professional trader, where your stop loss is as tight as possible and your exit targets as far away as possible from the entry point, so you have a beautiful risk to reward ratio, right? So not only you need to enter highest probability trades, but also the trade with the best possible risk to reward ratio. That's gonna allow you, and only this, to be profitable in the long run, and this is exactly what we are doing inside of ParadiseFamilyVIP. So right now we need to understand that also by the look of the MACD histogram, you can see that we are not having really a bullish sign from the ultra high time frame perspective right here neither, because as you can see we are creating a lower high, but the price action is creating what? A higher high, right? So this is a classic bearish divergence, ladies and gentlemen. You know about this from our website. When the price action is making a higher high, but the momentum indicator is creating lower high, it basically suggests that the bulls are losing power, all right? They are losing momentum. And the bears, if we will have a confirmation that will be visible right here on the histogram, right here on the indicator by crossing the blue line through the red line, that will will be bearish cross, something similar what we have got right here, and as you can see it will work as a confirmation of this bearish divergence, and with the highest probability it will result in a downtrend. So we need to be very careful. But one of the other confirmations we will be waiting for is definitely a break and reclaim of this ascending trend line of our overall channel. All right, so as you know, for a proper reclaim of this channel we need to break with more than average volume, and then we need to have a proper bearish retest. All right, so we need to basically switch this support, we need to reclaim this support into a resistance. If we will be pushing to the ascending trend line with low volume, all right, decreasing volume, it will be a bearish confirmation, and we will be definitely looking at creating a short position, and stop loss we will have above these highs, which is also above the $121,000 resistance. But right now we have no confirmation for bearish setup, so what we are waiting for, definitely a weekly close, confirmations, and from the bullish perspective, if we can reclaim, ladies and gentlemen, the $121,000 and turn it into a support, you know what's next, $135,000, and that will conclude this ABC formation, because one of the guidelines from the Elliott wave theory is what? Is that the A wave is very similar length to the B wave. So how can you predict where the B wave is going to finish? Well, if you have already finished the A wave, you can just measure the length of the wave, right? Place it to the bottom of the B wave, and basically you get a target. So this was the bottom of the B wave, and you get the target. And as you can see, the $135,000 have lots of confluences, not only from the ultra high time frame perspective is the Fibonacci retracement level that I've been updating you about in the previous videos. It's also from the guidelines perspective, the end of the higher degree B wave, right? I'm talking about this is the higher degree A wave, and this is the B wave that subdivides itself into a zigzag. So basically the C wave has a nice confluence with the A wave, and it's pointing towards $135,000. Well, is there some other confluences? Of course there is. As you know from the previous videos, we have loads of them, and one of them is this Fibonacci spiral that I will be talking about in a minute. But first of all, I just want to share with you this beautiful channel on a lower time frame. Right now we are taking a look at the daily time frame, and as you can see we are creating ABC formation, and right now because we are on a lower time frame we can beautifully calculate the subwaves, because as you already know the C wave is a motive mode wave the same way the A wave is, and that is why it subdivides itself into 5 smaller waves, AB 1 2 3 4 5, right? So let's calculate the subwaves, ladies and gentlemen. This was our first wave, secondary wave. Well, and after we have got these two waves we have been able to predict where with the highest probability the third wave is gonna finish. How? Because we have basically taken the slope between the points of bottom of the first wave, bottom of the secondary wave. We have copied the slope, we have placed it to the top of the first wave, and basically we have extended that line, and as you can see it worked perfectly with the finishing of the third wave. Does it mean that we have immediately created an aggressive short position? It doesn't. We have been waiting for some confirmations, and one of the confirmations being this shooting star candlestick pattern, and confirmation of that was this bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. Take a look at this candle. It basically engulfed the whole body of the shooting star candlestick pattern. Well, and that gave us lots of points to the bears, and basically lots of probability that after this consolidation is over the resolution will be to the downside with the higher probability than to the upside. After that we have basically started to create the fourth wave, as you already know, inside of a contracting triangle pattern that finished at our ascending trend line. Well, and after that we have started the fifth wave, and right now we are in the end of the secondary wave or in the start of the third wave already. Let me explain. So this is the fifth wave. As you know, the fifth wave of an impulse, ladies and gentlemen, is also a motive mode wave. That means it subdivides itself into 5 smaller waves, 1 2 3 4 5, right? So let's have a look what we we are having right here? I do believe that we have already created the first wave for many reasons. I will explain to you them in a minute. And right now we are having the secondary wave. Then we will have the third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave with the highest probability. If the demand zone, if the support areas that I will be talking about in a minute will be holding, the final fifth wave of the fifth will take us towards $135,000. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look what's going on right here. If we zoom in a little bit, you can see that we are retesting beautifully the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level that I have created by analyzing the first wave, the first motive mode wave, right? So the correction, the secondary wave usually ends at the 618 extension, okay? And we have already touched it. Together with that, we have loads of confluences right here at that $117,000. Not only this Fibonacci retracement level, we also right here have the VPVR, which wasn't reclaimed just yet. We also have the moving average orange trend line right here. We have the ascending trend line, and below us also 786 Fibonacci retracement level at around $115,000. Well, there is a possibility that even though it would be drastic, and if we are bullish, we can still have a wick out lower. All right, let me explain how is that possible. If we take a look at the liquidation heat map, we can see that loads of liquidity is sitting, ladies and gentlemen, at the low of $116,000. Then there is not much below us, but you know how these wicks work, right? We liquidate these long positions, these over leveraged long positions that have their stop losses right here at this level, and then we have a reversal. But sometimes the wick just gets a little bit larger, so it can actually retest that 786 Fibonacci retracement level at around $115,000. But what's important to understand at that $116,000 is who is waiting for that. Well, if we take a look at the big buy walls and sell walls, we can see some big players indeed waiting for $116,000. Why? Because they've placed $26 million order at that level, buy limit order. Ladies and gentlemen, they will be really getting a nice entry if we will have this wick out to the downside, right? It will be a nice entry. So from the orchestration, price action development in perspective of whales, what can happen? What would be profitable for the whales is liquidate order over leverage long positions to $115,000 and then have a reversal, right? In that time, when you liquidate the long positions, the over leverage long positions, the ride to the upside will be much smoother. Why? Because no long positions, over leveraged long positions will be taking profits once we start trending higher, right? That is why the market makers will be able to push the price even further and further, much easier, all right? So this is very important to understand that it can happen, all right? Even though if we are bullish, we can still have a wick out towards this level right here, ladies and gentlemen, and then have a reversal. So just be prepared for that. If you are long in this, or if you are preparing to long, make sure that you are having a proper stop loss. That is one of the important stuff that professional trader needs to be able to do. Have a professional proper stop loss, all right? So this might be the reversal that will allow us to go to the upside. Ladies and gentlemen, if that's gonna happen, what I want to see is that the daily candle will close back above the ascending trend line. If the daily candle will start closing below this retracement and also the ascending trend line, well, it will not be really bullish and it will add points to the bears, right? So after that, I will be waiting for a reclaim. So I want to see a retest on a low volume, decreasing volume, all right, of our ascending trend line and turn it from support. As you can see, it's working as a support right here. It's working as a support right here. I want that to turn into a resistance the same way it did right here. Breakout with nice volume, retest on a decreasement of volume, and then basically it hold as a resistance and it turned from support, resistance, bang, okay? And this is going to be the time for the professionals to take a short position, ladies and gentlemen. But right now the Elliott wave count doesn't really support this. So the Elliott wave count actually is supporting bulls. So that's for the bulls, all right? Points to the bulls, ladies and gentlemen, from the Elliott wave perspective. If we take a look at the MACD histogram, let's have a look at some momentum, ladies and gentlemen. We have this bullish divergence and confirmed bearish divergence, because you can see that the bulls momentum right here on this high is very small. It's actually lower, but basically the price action created a higher high. It's a bearish divergence. But why am I saying that it's unconfirmed? Because we need to have a bearish cross just yet, which we don't. We have a bullish divergence from the previous price action, higher high, lower high, and we have also got the bullish cross. Right now we are having we are trying to have a reclaim. So we have got the breakout, and right now we are trying to get the previous resistance into support. If that's gonna hold, ladies and gentlemen, bang bang bang, bulls will be very happy. We are going to upside, okay, with the highest probability towards $135,000. So also the RSI indicator right now is trying to have the reclaim, breakout, retest. It needs to hold. If it's gonna hold, we are going to the upside, okay? So wait for the confirmations. I definitely want to see a couple of daily candles. Definitely, at least once we get a closure of the weekly candle, I want to see the daily candles to be closing above the VPVR at least, okay, which is at $118,000. If that's gonna happen, it will increase the probabilities that indeed we are going to the upside. But let's have a look. Why am I still talking about $135,000? Ladies and gentlemen, because loads of confluences are there. Loads of confluences. One of them is also this Fibonacci spiral that you know from the previous video. But let me explain to you one more time this beauty, because this spiral is visible everywhere in nature, and it's also in your DNA, and that is why this level, this spiral leveling is working, because all of the financial markets are based on emotions, all right? And the Fibonacci sequence is based on human psychology, okay? That is why it's working. And how to analyze it is basically you placed it to the bottom of the next motive mode wave, and this spiral end at the motive mode wave, or at the first motive mode wave end, and you need to connect at least 2 points, all right? So let me connect it nicely, all right, perfect. 1 and 2. I don't know if it's visible, but it's connecting the first motive mode wave, and it basically predicts where the higher degree next motive mode wave is going to finish. And as you can see, it beautifully confluences with that $135,000. Look at that, all right? Beautiful, $135,000. So another confluence. But let's right now take a look what's going on with the price action very quickly. We have the contracting triangle right here. We are right now trying to have a proper reclaim. So this descending trend line is working as a support. We have also this demand zone, this VPVR, and right now what's bearish is that we are below the moving average trend line. So we have got a break, retest. It seems like a bearish reclaim, so I'm not really interested in buying just yet. And if we take a look at the MACD histogram, we can see bearish divergence. If I remove these drawings, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that we have created a higher high, but the histogram created a lower high. That is a bearish divergence. That was one of the indices why we have got this price action to the downside, also this resistance. But because of this bearish divergence, it basically tells us, all right, the breakout above this resistance is probably a fake out. That is also why we have been with ParadiseFamilyVIPs, as you know from the previous video, taking profits right here. We have also created some shooting star candlestick pattern at the top. That is the reason why I've been taking some profit on our long position right here at this price, as you know from the previous video. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, we might have exaggerated our bullish divergence, because if we take a look at the bottom, take a look at this low at the support zone, all right? Take a look at the bearish momentum. Take a look at this low at the bearish momentum is higher. Take a look at this low right now, back at the same demand zone, and man, oh man, the bears are really getting loads of pressure going on, but they are unable to create a lower low, and it's right now creating a higher low. So loads of bears are getting exhausted right here. We can see on the footprint some exaggerated, exhausted selling pressure, stacked selling imbalances, ladies and gentlemen. That means that some absorption of selling pressure is going on at support. This is usually a bullish sign, by the way, okay? So some points to the bulls right here. So definitely on the 4-hour time frame, I'm waiting for reclaiming back this ascending trend line. From previously it was working as a resistance, then a support. Right now again a resistance, confluencing with this moving average trend line. I want to see a proper reclaim, okay? So if we take a look, however, at the low time frame chart, at the 1-hour time frame, we need to understand when the secondary wave from our new impulse that might take us towards $135,000 is going to be finished, all right? So we need to have some corrective mode wave. As you know, we might have many. We might have a zigzag. We might have a triple zigzag. We might have a flat. Well, with the guidelines of Elliott wave theory, basically the spectrum of the corrective mode waves is much more narrow if you understand what's going on and what are the rules and guidelines. Because with the highest probability, the secondary wave is always a zigzag or a double zigzag. Very small percentage of secondary waves are triangles or flats or threes, all right? So we are waiting for a zigzag, ladies and gentlemen. So you basically, if you are focused on something, if I tell you when you are in a car, focus just on the blue cars, and you will suddenly realize, oh my God, there are so many blue cars, and you will miss all the yellow cars, right? So right now, if we know what to focus on, we can actually predict and see that much more cleaner. We can basically see that much more clearer. So you know the subwaves from the previous video of the first wave, right? And right now we are creating the secondary wave. When it's going to finish is going to be once we create some of the corrective mode waves, all right, patterns. So right now I do believe we have concluded 5 waves to the downside and created the A wave of our zigzag. It's nicely visible on the 15 minutes time frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one being extended. So a motive mode wave to the downside. So motive mode wave to the downside is in zigzag, right? Motive mode wave, 5 moves. Now I'm waiting for some corrective mode wave in the B wave, and the B wave might be a triangle, it might be also a double three, it might be a flat, all right? I do believe we might have a flat, and the flat concludes out of A, B, and C. A, B are corrective, C is a motive mode wave, all right? So this is A, I do believe, A, B, C, corrective mode wave. B right now is being finished, and I do believe we might have a C. Because we understand the flat patterns, ladies and gentlemen, we understand it might be expanded, running, or regular, all right? Because the B wave right now went beyond the start of the A wave, it might be either expanding or running, right? It went beyond the end of the A wave, this B wave. So expanded or running. If it's expanding, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we might have a touch right here and then a touch lower, and then we will start the third wave. If it's going to be a run-in, ladies and gentlemen, the C wave will not be expanded, right? The C wave will be truncated, will end below the A wave. But what we need to wait for are 5 moves to the upside. So 1, 2, right now we will be creating 3rd, 4th, and 5th. With ParadiseFamilyVIPs, once we conclude the 5 waves, we will be taking an action, okay? From the just basic price action development theory, what we are expecting is basically this. Let me show you. Once we conclude the secondary wave, given that the demand zones will be holding below us, all right, all the support areas will be holding and we will not have any reclaim, we will basically continue after the creation of the secondary wave is finished towards $129,000, which will be the 3rd wave. Then we will have a 4th wave right here towards $123,000. Well, and after that we will have the 5th wave towards $135,000. Ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button if you completely didn't hate this video. I'm really doing my best to explain to you what I'm seeing right now, how the professional trading is working, and what we are waiting for right now with the Paradise team. I wish you a happy rest of the weekend. Smash the like button if you want, but you don't need to, of course. And I will see you again on Tuesday, because as you know, here on YouTube I'm recording for you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So I will see you again on Tuesday or inside of Paradise Family VIP. Cheers!